Vigilance. Will you recommend the Job Guide 360 interview guide to prospective job seekers?
Sure, I will. The guide is detailed and very comprehensive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission, as always, is pretty straightforward. We take complex sources, pull out the core insights, and give you that essential knowledge shortcut.
And today, we're doing a deep dive into the world of the Transportation Security Officer, the TSO. Now, you might just see them as part of the airport routine, maybe even a bottleneck sometimes.
Yeah, that's often the perception.
But when you actually look at what the job demands, it's genuinely one of the most complex, high-pressure roles in public safety.
Absolutely. And our source material for this is, well, it's fascinating. We've got a list of 30 common interview questions for TSO candidates, plus the kind of expert answers that security organizations are really looking for.
Exactly. So this list, it basically gives us a roadmap. Our mission today is to use these questions to really understand the key skills, the absolute necessity for integrity, and the intense pressures of the job.
It sounds like it demands competence, total commitment, and readiness at all times.
Yeah.
Because high-stress situations aren't like rare events for them.
Not at all. They're pretty much daily possibilities. You have to be ready constantly.
Okay, so let's start right there with that pressure cooker environment. The sources make it clear this job needs fast, high-stakes decisions. If you're hiring a TSO, what's the number one thing you're testing for under stress?
Fundamentally, it's the ability to stay calm and act decisively. Even if that action means escalating something and causing a significant delay, it's about judgment.
And vigilance too, right? The sources mention that.
Yes, subtle vigilance. It's not just about spotting the obvious threat.
Can you give us an example of that? Something that tests judgment, not just finding, a forbidden item.
Sure. One example cited involved monitoring security cameras, which itself requires sustained focus. The TSO spots someone acting, nervously, loitering near luggage.
Okay, that's not illegal, just odd.
Precisely. It's an anomaly.
Yeah.
The key here is the TSO didn't immediately confront the person. The correct, decisive action was to alert a supervisor right away.
And that led somewhere.
It did. That quick, quiet escalation led them to discover illegal substances. So the vigilance paid off.
Wow. So they have to make a critical call based purely on behavior, judging nervousness, deciding if it warrants action. That sounds incredibly draining.
It is, because the job isn't just item screening, it's pattern recognition. It's seeing things that might lead to needing decisive action. And this gets amplified massively in a real crisis.
Right, like a bomb threat or some major security incident.
Yeah.
When things really hit the fan, what do protocols demand?
The absolute top priority is public safety, always. That means following the established procedures to the letter evacuation, alerting specialized law enforcement. You know the drill.
Well, there's more to it than just following steps, I imagine.
Oh, definitely. The crucial part, especially highlighted in these interview answers, is maintaining clear communication without causing panic. You need to coordinate everything effectively but calmly. Don't add to the chaos.
It makes sense. And even for smaller things like an unattended bag, quick thinking is still essential.
Constantly. Think about finding an unattended backpack. The standard procedure is clear. Alert the supervisor, clear the immediate area, involve law enforcement instantly.
Even if it's probably just someone's forgotten lunch.
Even then, swift action is non-negotiable. You simply can't afford to wait and see if the owner strolls back in a few minutes. The potential risk is too high.
Okay, so that high-stakes decision-making is clearly front and center. But it's not all adrenaline, right? There's a huge technical side, too. What's the baseline knowledge a TSO absolutely must have?
Yeah, it's significant. And it's not just about knowing the TSA's rules here in the U.S. They need to stay current with a threat landscape that's, constantly changing and global.
So beyond domestic screening rules, how deep does that knowledge go? Are we talking international regulations?
We are. A comprehensive grasp of domestic guidelines is expected, obviously. But candidates also need to show awareness of international aviation standards, things set by organizations like ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization.
So they need to see themselves as part of a bigger global security web.
Exactly. They're a node in an interconnected system, and that connects directly to mastering the equipment. You can't be effective if you're unsure about the tools.
Right. Confidence with the scanners, the metal detectors, the x-ray machines.
Total confidence, not just operating them, but interpreting the results. That's key. One source mentioned an experienced officer spotting a suspicious item on an x-ray that a newbie might have missed entirely. It's visual expertise, not just button pushing.
And I guess that expertise has to extend to the really specialized stuff, like bomb detection tech.
Oh, absolutely. Specific knowledge of explosive detection systems is critical. Understanding things like trace detection, the swabs they use and the bulk detection scanners.
Anything else on the tech side?
Yes, and this is crucial. Understanding the importance of regular system maintenance. A TSO needs to know the tech works accurately, but also understand its limitations. What are the chances of a false positive or negative? How reliable is it right now?
Okay, we covered the checkpoints. What about securing the rest of the airport? The restricted zones, behind the scenes.
That requires implementing really strict access controls, often using things like biometrics for identity verification, plus doing regular audits on those systems, and using surveillance not just passively, but actively as a deterrent and an investigative tool.
So it's like building layers of security, physical and digital.
Precisely, a multi-layered defense.
Okay, now for what I think is the really interesting part. The job isn't just about bags and machines, it's about people, screening people. And sometimes those people are difficult or scared or don't speak the language.
You're right, this is where it gets incredibly complex. The TSO isn't just security, they're often a frontline diplomat. Conflict resolution, communication. These skills are absolutely paramount.
So how do the best TSOs handle passengers who are, say, really agitated or just refusing to cooperate? It must be hard to stay objective.
It requires immense self-control. The strategy involves staying calm, using patience and empathy, even if the passenger's being difficult.
How do they do that in practice?
By calmly explaining why the procedures are necessary, using simple, clear language, nothing too technical. It's about de-escalation through education, guiding them step by step. Often, just explaining things clearly can diffuse a lot of tension.
While still doing a thorough security check, though, and maintaining privacy and dignity. That sounds like walking a tightrope.
It's a very delicate balance. You have to be thorough, but respectful. That means clear communication, offering private screening rooms if needed or requested, respecting individual rights, and being aware of potential cultural differences.
Knowing how to do the job effectively without crossing lines.
Exactly. Thoroughness without intrusion.
But let's be real. What happens if diplomacy just fails? A passenger absolutely refuses to follow instructions.
Then the TSO must maintain absolute calm and professionalism, no arguments. The procedure is clear, escalate to a supervisor.
And the outcome.
The source material is firm on this. Safety protocols are non-negotiable. If genuine cooperation fails, unfortunately, it might have to end with denying that passenger access to their flight.
Tough, but necessary, I suppose. Now, you mentioned cultural differences. With international travel, language barriers must be common. How do they handle security checks then, without causing misunderstandings or incidents?
It requires real cultural sensitivity and practical communication tactics. Things like using clear, simple gestures, or, ideally, getting help from a colleague who speaks the passenger's language. The goal is to ease tension and make sure they understand each step.
Okay, switching gears slightly, but still on the human side. Integrity. The ultimate test. What about bribery? Someone tries to slip them cash.
Ah, yes. The answer here is absolute. Zero tolerance. The requirement is to firmly and politely decline the offer. No hesitation.
And then?
Then you immediately report the incident to a supervisor or the appropriate authority. Transparency is everything. Any hint of compromise there destroys trust in the entire system.
Makes sense. It has to be black and white.
Yeah.
And finally, under the human element, what about special cases? Screening children or maybe VIPs? Does the approach change?
Sensitivity is key, especially with minors. The TSO needs to explain things simply, reassure them, make sure they aren't frightened by the process.
But the security doesn't change.
No, the core security protocols apply universally. Safety procedures are the same for everyone, regardless of age, status, or any special needs they might have. Consistency is vital.
So we've talked about the individual TSO, the pressure, the tech, the diplomacy, but they don't work alone. How do they fit into the bigger security picture? The team dynamics, the internal systems?
Right. Security is fundamentally a team effort. It relies heavily on everyone adhering to the chain of command and maintaining vigilance, not just outwards towards passengers, but inwards too. One person can't secure an entire airport alone.
How do those interview questions get at that teamwork aspect?
They often focus on scenarios requiring coordinated responses, like responding to a suspicious package alert. That requires the whole team, securing the area, clear communication within the team, and then coordinating smoothly with external groups like law enforcement or bomb disposal units.
So they're looking for people who understand their role within that larger response.
Exactly. People who know success depends on seamless collaboration and handoffs.
And for something like that unintended item we mentioned earlier, once it's spotted, what's the specific action sequence?
It's a very precise protocol. Step 1, clear the immediate area. Step 2, inform the supervisor with exact details, location, description, context. Step 3, utilize specialized resources, often trained canine units, for an initial assessment.
And only then potentially law enforcement.
Yes, if suspicions remain after the initial assessment, then law enforcement gets fully involved. The TSO initiates that whole careful sequence.
Okay, here's a really tough one. Dealing with a colleague who might be breaching security protocols. That's a major internal integrity test.
It's probably one of the hardest tests, yes. But it speaks directly to commitment to the system's integrity over personal loyalty. The requirement is clear. First, gather concrete evidence. It can't be based on rumor.
Make sure it's fact-based.
Right. Then, report it immediately to your immediate supervisor following the proper chain of command. And crucially, maintain strict confidentiality while it's being investigated. Protecting public trust comes first, even if it involves a coworker.
That takes courage. And dealing with all this, the daily stress, the constant threat potential, difficult passengers, maybe even internal issues, it must take a toll. How do they manage that?
Self-management is critical. The sources really emphasize the need for effective stress coping strategies just to last in the job.
Like what?
Things like practicing mindfulness techniques, getting regular exercise, and maybe most importantly, fostering open communication within the team. Having that support network seems vital. It's a job that demands serious resilience.
And finally, with all the sensitive information they handle passenger details, security procedures, confidentiality must be huge.
Absolutely non-negotiable. Strict adherence to all policies about sensitive data, sharing info only on a strict need-to-know basis, secure storage, both physical and digital, and even having plans for what to do if there's an inadvertent disclosure. Data security is just as vital as checkpoint security.
You know, we started by calling TSOs unsung heroes, maybe vital to safety, but after diving into these sources, the sheer scope of this job is just, well, it's staggering.
It really is.
It's this incredible mix: instant vigilance, deep technical knowledge, real human diplomacy under pressure, and just impeccable personal integrity.
It's a demanding blend of hard and soft skills, definitely. And the sources hammer home that it's not just about day one training. The whole security landscape demands constant learning, constant adaptation.
Which brings us perfectly to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. The source material constantly stresses that TSOs have to regularly review updates and changes because the threats are always evolving.
It's a constant cycle.
So, if this much effort goes into making sure a TSO is ready on day one, just think about this. How often do you imagine their entire, probably massive, protocol manual has to be significantly rewritten each year just to keep pace with new threats and new tactics?
It's a system built to chase an adversary that learns and adapts very quickly. Something to perhaps keep in mind the next time you're putting your keys in that gray bin.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.